Well, can he? He can.
Yes,
He's
he
gonna show you today. This is the Big Finish at Lincoln Lodge. We're about to get it on the show. So come on, everybody, and get the show on the road.
Let's get it on the road. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Big Finish at the Lincoln Lodge podcast studio. I am your host, Jamie Schreiner, here with my co-host,
Beckett, Kenny. Hey, what's up?
And we have a very special guest for you today. She's a legend. She's an icon. It's Gena Gephart, everybody.
Gena Gephart. Woo, yeah. How are you doing, Gena?
Good.
Good. Did you do anything exciting today? Love that.
I went for a little run. Sunny out.
Are you a runner?
Yeah.
Have you ever lifted a weight?
No.
No.
And I never will.
I'm kind of the opposite in that I hate running and I can't do it at all, but I feel comfortable lifting weights.
I'm not a gym person, and like it makes me. I know I could become one, but like the anxiety of like, I mostly started running during the pandemic because I was I was unstable mentally, and I started running I was kind of running away.
Yeah. All runners are running away
every day. I was out there like
yeah.
It was I'd get done and I just like stare at the sky and be like, okay, like there was like a time when I was like, I'd never thought we would get out of the house. It felt like I'd really like realistically like never saw an end in sight again. I would just run 4 miles every day, and at the end I'd go, I'm like, oh, my life's just slipping away.
Yeah. No, it does feel slippery.
And
Life
I
was a
still
treadmill.
feel like that now.
Yeah.
I thought it would end when the pandemic ended, but it kept going.
No, that's the crazy thing is you get out of the pandemic and you're like, wait, things aren't okay still.
In some ways, they actually got worse.
No, yeah, for sure.
Not years ago, but this was like a couple years ago when you did my podcast. Like this was like over a year ago for sure, and I was like complaining, and you're like, "Well, you're 29, and your Saturn is in return, and
and
you're like, this happens to everybody when they're like, 27 to 30 or whatever. Now I'm 30. I'm like, when is this fucking Saturn gonna get back?
Because I think your Saturn is in Aquarius, right? I think we talked about because you have the same as me. So basically, it just ended for us. If we have the same one, it just ended like 2 weeks ago. Like we're done.
How long was it?
It was 2.5 years. 2.5 years. And it started in 2020 for basically everybody who has a Saturn in Aquarius, which is like, it's like a couple years period of people. So a lot of people.
A period for a couple of years? Honey, I thought it was once a month.
I know.
Now you tell me it's a couple. Honey.
I mean, it's something that I would have to Google. I think it's like if you were born like March 1990 through such and such 1992, you had your Saturn return from January 2020 until like this March. So
Saturn
that basically
returns.
Means like you're
this time it's personal.
This time it's Oh, and I think when I talked to you, it was personal for you and it was personal for me. So I feel like I'm in the picking up the pieces part of my Saturn return. Like it's done. Like I'm on solid ground, but it's like, okay, how do we move forward from this chaos that went on?
I dropped all my pieces in the lake.
You just all the pieces in the lake. You're like, all right, and then you ran away.
It was like an accident. No, I was like, my pieces. There's the bottom of Lake Michigan,
and they're just like they're sinking to the bottom. They're going.
Yeah,
that's my favorite noise in the world. Is I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast or told you this, but like if I was ever like falling off of a cliff, like that would be what I want my last words to be, like right before, like like so people are kind of like, was that a joke, and then they have to kind of look at the splat to realize no, he's dead.
The final bit.
The final bit. the new like Final Destination movie where like everyone dies in a really funny way.
This time it's personal.
I did you guys ever watch that show? The very honestly disrespectful show, like 1,000 Ways to Die.
Oh, I watched that so much.
Yeah.
I vaguely know what you're talking
My mom
about.
would not let me watch it typically because she's like, that's disrespectful and terrible. But then, like I remember I watched it once, like in a hotel room when my parents were out, and I was like, oh my god, and the one episode was like a raccoon bit this guy's dick off.
Oh, the one that I remember is a woman was masturbating with a carrot and it broke off inside of her.
How does that kill you, though?
I don't know. I think it was just like they couldn't retrieve it, or like it caused too much internal bleeding.
So they had to put her down.
Yeah. But like, I don't even remember. It was that. There's so many of them that I remember. I remember that one. There's one that was like a man used an enema, but with alcohol, and got alcohol poisoning and died.
People
the street
ingest
it's called
alcohol.
boofing.
Yeah,
yes.
I just learned that term for the first time. But when they like soak a tampon in vodka.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
stuff
I've
it up
heard
their
that
ass.
one. Yeah,
I just couldn't imagine ever.
By them I
trying
mean women do not stuff tampons up their ass.
yeah. That's
We
not
just-
something
Would you
that
get
we-
wouldn't do
toxic shock syndrome from that?
From stuffing it up your
That
ass?
works.
No, I don't. Well, I mean, I guess.
TSS is from I think it's from leaving one in too long. So I don't
But
necessarily
if you
think
left one in your asshole.
For too long, would you
Yeah.
also get toxic shock syndrome?
But okay, I have heard. Okay, this is just something I heard that could be factually completely inaccurate, but but I'm gonna say it anyway. But I heard that like not everyone could get toxic shock syndrome. Like it's like 10% of people are like susceptible to it, but like it could kill you if you are. So that's why it's such a like thing that people fear all the
I think
time.
that is true. I
But
have
it's
heard
from
that.
the dyes in the cotton, I think.
Yeah, so it'd be like anybody who has a more sensitivity to that dye.
Why are they dyeing it
Okay.
though? Couldn't they just leave it whatever color it is? It's like we're stuffing it up our.
I think it's probably because they are fucking weird about periods. Honestly, that's probably why they're like, oh, it has to be pristine white so we can see how disgusting women are when they bleed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. It's probably, I mean, honestly, anything with feminine care products is usually not for good reason. It's because that's how they've always done it. Like, a lot of the stats on it.
Well, that was like I heard the little I can't think of it. I want to call it a clamp trap, but the trap. But
pad?
No, this speculum.
Oh,
Supposedly speculums are like very poorly designed and like uncomfortable, and that they could be like much better made or something. I don't
but
know.
they just don't, yeah.
Or it was just that the guy who made speculums was racist. I don't know, but it's like
that's not funny, but
I feel like that.
if like the guy who made speculums is racist, like what are we gonna do? Are we gonna not use a speculum? That's like somebody like one time I remember this in college. This person was like, "Yeah, dildos are actually like really fucked up because they were created to like." Suppress women or something. I'm like, well, yeah, but now we have them and we know better. You know what I mean? What are we gonna like? Is it helpful to women now if we're all like, no, actually, the guy who did that was bad. Like I feel like.
Wait, what? In what way? How is he using the dildo to?
I think I think that like dildos were created like in the women were going crazy and they're like, "Wah!" And then like the guy's like, hey, hold up, and now it does, I don't really know.
Do you think? Maybe the women back then did like a little like reverse psychology where they're like, oh no, we hate this big cock you built for us that we can use by ourselves whenever we want it. No, please don't make them in different colors. No, please.
Don't make it different colors.
Oh my God.
Don't use the dye.
Don't put a
Maybe
suction
that's
cup on it. No,
I mean,
no,
definitely.
please.
I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know about dildos, but definitely vibrators were used for women with hysteria.
Oh, that's
like
what
women
it was.
with-
Hysteria,
Calm me
though.
down.
Yeah, women who had hysteria, so basically just like mentally ill women, they
Yeah.
would just like sand their clits off until they calm down with the old school fucking vibrators.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yes. Which is like,
But,
I
like-
do think to some degree it was like, oh, I'm so upset. I don't think.
Well, having an orgasm
Probably-
I feel like does regulate your mood.
Yeah, it chilled you out.
Interesting.
And
I
you
think
get all
also-
the good chemicals and
I mean, honestly, like, I think having hysteria sounds like it has some perks. Like, at least you get to
Yeah.
have, like, as a woman in that time,
Not
you
the
got to
worst
experience an
treatment.
orgasm. Like, nobody
Yeah,
was getting
that's,
to other than the women with hysteria.
that's why.
That's sad. It's a grim
but then
reality.
they're quickly lobotomized. Probably.
You're like, oh, you realize that you can do that on your own.
I
and
found
it's the
out
best?
I'm a bottom, then I got lobotomized.
You want to know something? This is true. I
Okay.
looked it up. Here's
Thank
a little,
God.
Here's a little
The first true thing we've said on the
fact.
podcast today.
10 minutes in.
Okay, so JFK had a little known sister that they hid away because basically she their dad wanted his son to be president, and she was kind of like just good. So let me try to remember. I think her name was like Rose or Rosemary or something like that. She was like very like delicate and like mentally ill, and they shipped her off to like a asylum or whatever. Okay, I'm forgetting a lot of the details because there's more details that make it fucked up, but eventually like she was having like fits, and I think she wanted to kill herself or something. I don't know. But then they fucking lobotomized her. And
it's so insane, the lobotomies.
Because she was just like, she needed help obviously, but they lobotomized her and kept her in a cabin on the grounds, and she had like, they got her a little dog, but she like could barely walk after that, and was like reduced to like a 4-year-old level of, and then she's just like the dirty secret of the Kennedy
Do you guys think, okay, if you were around back then, do you guys think you would have been lobotomized, or do you think?
I think yes. Absolutely.
I'm terrified of authority, so I think probably not.
I'm not sure if I would get lobotomized. I think I'd be. I try to think. I'm like, would I be like an outcast in the town, or would I like go closeted and like be?
Wait, is this in like the 60s?
Yeah.
What time period are
when
we
did
in?
they stop lobotomies?
Lobotomies were in the 70s. They stopped. Like
Really,
60s
the
or 70s.
70s?
Really
They were
late.
doing them up to the 70s.
Yeah, they were doing
insane.
them a really long time. The thing is like, I could have also seen myself, this is so fucked up to admit, I could see myself being one of the Manson girls. I could see myself being one of those like lost hippie girls that ends up like, oh, look at this nice mean man. Like, let's go live on his farm. And
for some reason, and maybe this is why I'll end up in a cult. I don't think I don't see myself ever getting in a cult.
That's what you think.
That's what you think. That's what everyone thinks.
Did you watch the what's it called? Stolen Youth. It's on Hulu. It's about, there was this like guy, all these kids that were going to Sarah Lawrence, and one of their dads like got out of prison and moved into the house and just like slowly like brainwashed each kid until he had this like weird cult of like 7 kids, and they all lived in one apartment, and he's fucking everybody. But it was wild to hear because like they're like telling, it's from there. It's like one of those things where like you wouldn't think that that could happen to you, but like all of these people seem totally normal, and they got like totally brainwashed.
No, I gotta take a look at that. I was looking today. I was like, I need a new documentary like that'll shock me.
It was kind of, but also what was weird is like this guy, when you look at pictures of him, because he wasn't, they didn't interview him or anything, but you're seeing all these pictures, like this guy is like a slob.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how you picture like a cult leader as like a hottie.
Here's the insane
this guy's
thing,
like,
though.
I would not let that guy.
Is like you picture like cult leaders as like, oh, I'm like charming and like sexy, and then like you picture like incels as being like, ugh, yeah. But like you look at pictures of like the incels who are like doing like the crazy shit, and you're like, he's not that ugly. Like he's kind of like I would hit it. You know what I mean? If I didn't hear him talk.
It's a charisma.
But then it's like it's the cult leaders. You take a look at the cult leaders, and it's like,
they have this magnetism.
He's got one eye like this, and like one eye like, you know what I mean? It's wild.
When I think honestly, this is not funny, but just the honesty of it is like with the story you're telling and with the Manson girls, I think it's like, to some degree, it's the age factor. Like the people who are getting brainwashed, you have to be under 30, I think, to kind of fall, to be susceptible. Especially like with Charles Manson, it was like young teen girls, early 20s, and
young women that like were kicked out of their house, like didn't have
right.
that he could provide for them, and then you take it away, then you give it back. Like,
yeah, and I think that like that is why when I say the Manson thing, I think like. Now, if Manson walked up to me on the street today, no, but I think like Jamie, 18 to 22,
a guy with like a swastika like on his head and like a long ass. It's like, hey, you want to come over to my place? And Jamie's like, I'm intrigued, but I'm just gonna have to say probably not. I think I'm just gonna do my errands today and just kind of.
I'm gonna keep going.
Pin in this.
I'll take your number, but like I'm not gonna give you mine.
Yeah,
that kind
I'll
of
take yours.
like I'll look at this months later on my phone and kind of be like, should I text him? But I'm not gonna, That's where you're at.
It says Charles swastika. Sidewalk.
It's Child Swastika
my
sidewalk. Off
Charlie.
Lawrence and Kedzie. No.
Yeah.
I don't know where any streets are. That's one of my biggest weaknesses.
Not knowing any streets.
I'm very bad at a lot of like practical things and identifying practical things. Like I can't tell you what type of when people are like, which one's the Chevy? I'm like,
Well, you
I
almost
don't
didn't
know.
finish that word either. You were not sure about that, were you?
I did have a moment where I was like, is a Chevy a car brand or is it like something else to do with cars? Do you know what I mean? Or like, are Chevys the ones where the tops come down? I don't really know.
Convertible?
Convertible, yeah.
It's a convertible. So,
Sorry, that was.
I'm not good at that either. Though. I can't really tell cars apart.
but I can't.
except for,
I
like,
can't also do street names. I don't
a
think
Prius or whatever.
I grew up though. Like by the time I grew up enough, like you basically had GPSs everywhere. So I feel like I never learned street names.
When I was growing up, we'd print out a thing from MapQuest.
That is so insane. And I think about this all the time about how like
It's dangerous. I mean, you get
Well-
halfway there, and then there'd be a detour, and then I'd be like, "Well, I'm okay. I'm gonna die in the woods now." Like
I think about like how like
I'll have
people
my
in the
MapQuest to
80s,
start a fire with a little paper chunks.
people like in the 80s probably didn't even know what a lot of things looked like. I know that sounds like
What?
so okay, hold on, listen to me. Like if you don't see something that pops up like on your TV or you don't like get a library book with it. You know how like images are thrown in our face all the time? Like we see like pictures of different animals and stuff. Like if you were like growing up in like the 20s, you could go to like New York and be like, what the fuck is this? Like I had no idea this is what it looked like. How insane would that experience be to like go into a big city with all these like when you've only been in like a small town before, but now like you see pictures of everything all the time, like
Before
all
you
these
go.
world. And so you always know what something looks like. That's something I've been thinking about recently is like how much like images, like we see things all the time, but like imagine seeing like a tiger for the first time. You didn't even know those were like a fucking thing.
Or seeing snow.
Yeah, like that would be insane. I remember my lesbian aunt's wife, which okay, listen, I shouldn't
Wife?
talk too much about what wife. Well,
your lesbian
ex-wife.
aunt's wife.
My lesbian aunt's ex-wife.
Ex-wife.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But yes, she had never seen fireflies before. I mean, I'm sure she'd seen pictures of fireflies.
They're
but
magical.
They are magical.
But then, the closer you get, you're like, oh,
I know when you touch
Yeah.
a firefly, you're
kind
like,
of gross.
you're like,
But when they're
and they
like-
smell.
They do
Do they?
smell stinky.
I don't squish
I
them.
have like a I didn't squish them.
Kids used to like squish them and
I know.
put them in their hair and stuff.
I know. I always felt
Because it
would
keeps
feel deeply
glowing for
guilty
a while.
about that.
Yeah, I was very tender. We had when I was a kid, we had a horrible infestation of we called them army worms, but people have other names. Tent worms, silk something I can't.
Yeah.
But they're invasive. They eat all the leaves off the tree. They like fuck up all the trees.
Yeah.
And they live in these. They make these big silk ball, and they're in there writhing around. They're really gross. But we had they were everywhere. And so like at recess, kids would just find new ways to kill them for like 30 minutes. All they would do is just like a caterpillar genocide. They were like smash them with rocks. They use like a stick, like a rolling pin. And I was such a like little pussy. I was like trying to all day long at recess. I was catching them and bringing them to safety in the woods, and I'd come back and I'd get them. And
That
everyone's
was-
like, these are like invasive, ruining the forest.
Yeah.
You're like,
I
be
was
free.
I was like, but they're fuzzy.
And you were like trying to get him out of Germany. And
Yeah, I was Schindler's listing invasive caterpillars. I was Schindler's listing Nazis. Is what I was.
yeah,
saying, really.
that's true. Whoa.
Don't use that as a clip. That sounds bad out of
yeah.
context.
Yeah, that does sound really bad out of context.
Out of context is
Yeah.
No, I mean, with the picture thing, the only thing that I could when I got my hearing aids the first time was kind of comparable to
Oh,
the
yeah.
because I couldn't.
How old were you?
I was 24.
Yeah.
And I had never actually heard I remember I felt like I was Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt because somebody catcalled me and I was like, thank you, because I could hear it. And I was like, yeah. And he was like,
Like,
what
this ass is fat.
You're like,
Thank you, sir.
Hallelujah.
Beautiful.
I've never heard all these beautiful noises before.
Yeah, baby.
just like, hey, man.
What the mouth do?
No.
I had that with my contacts. Which I think it's probably the same as yours because I was like in high school, but there was like a time in middle school where I didn't think my glasses were cool, wouldn't wear them. So, I finally got contacts so I could see again. But like also at the same time, my glasses, we hadn't gotten me a new prescription for a long time.
So
for like 3 years, I had not been able to see clearly. And when they finally popped these I just remember being like, even in the doctor's office, which was like nothing good to look at, I was like, holy fuck. Like the lines were all crisp. And then on the drive home, I was like, I could see the leaves on the trees. Like I didn't know everyone else could just see the leaves. And, like the whole ride, I was like, oh. And my mom was like, she was like, oh my God, I'm a neglectful mother. Like she didn't know how bad it got. So she's watching me like looking like, magic is all around us. My mom's like, oh my God.
Not you acting like a child who was locked in a basement. not you, not you, the kid from The Room.
Oh God.
Yeah, no, my mom felt bad.
There are stories in these. Crazy story. In 8th grade or something, they like brought in people at school to like test everybody's eyesight. And I remember I was scared because I kind of knew my vision was getting blurry, but I didn't want to be like a fucking nerd. You know what I mean, with glasses at the time, because I was so scared of that. And so I saw like vague outlines of letters, but I could not make out what it was in the thingy. And I said like 5 kind of random letters because I couldn't make them out. And then she was like, say that again. And I said those letters again. She's like, okay, you said it right, but backwards. I was like, what? I was like, what are the chances of me having said the right letters in like the right order backwards guessing? You know what I mean? And I didn't have to get glasses, which maybe was not the best of luck. Maybe I should have just gotten them at the time. Then also, I went to the DMV and I was like, I need glasses, so I think I'm gonna have to get a B restriction. She's like, yeah, but like you could probably be okay. And she kind of helped me cheat on the eye exam to not get a B like restriction on my license. I couldn't believe it, but love.
Yeah, thank you, whoever did that. I wish they would have done that for me. I have restrictions from my hearing and my glasses.
I didn't know what's a B restriction.
It's like if you can't see without glasses.
Oh, like if you didn't have your glasses,
then you're not. You're not licensed to drive without your glasses.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to say.
Okay, I definitely have one of those then.
I think I probably have a different restriction, honestly. When I almost lost my license because I got so many speeding tickets, so it's like, yeah, I gotta be super careful.
I never got a speeding ticket, and I speed.
You haven't?
All the time. No.
I got a speeding ticket real early in my driving experience.
For speeding.
Have you ever been pulled over at all?
Yeah.
What?
I got pulled over for one time. I was driving my friend's car, and I didn't realize, like, I clicked her headlights on, but I didn't realize you had to click it like again.
Yeah.
Like, she was really drunk. We were like 19. She was drunk. I was driving her car for her. And yeah, so we just started driving down the highway with the headlights off.
Yeah.
So that was a quick, we got pulled over real quick. Yeah. I was sweating to it, but he let us go. Yeah, my friends are singing.
He was like, oh, no.
I remember during the pandemic, I would drive up here to do shows every once in a while, which is psycho.
From Peoria.
From Peoria, but I was also like, I need to leave. I need to get out of here. And so I would take any excuse to like, I'd be like, yes, I'll time to perform at Shakers on Clark. I would do, and then I would drive back like 90 basically the whole way because I wanted to get home like as soon as possible. And I did get pulled over once, and he was like, you were going 30 over the speed limit. And I'm like, well, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, boop a doop, and he was like, have you been drinking tonight? And I had like 2 beers like earlier, and I told him 2 beers. I wasn't sure. I'm like, should I lie right now or should I say? And I said the truth. Do you guys typically lie? It ended up okay. Yeah, it ended up okay. So
I don't usually lie.
I would have told the truth in that situation.
Yeah, I think if you like drank enough to where it's like, there's no way that I'm gonna be like fail a breathalyzer. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
then what's who cares?
Just be honest. Yeah,
he might be nicer to you if you are perceived as telling the truth.
I think that is typically my my approach to situations when I'm in trouble is tell like too much of the truth.
For sure.
Like I'll be like, here's the detail and blah blah blah, and this is why I did this, and so this, but I'm actually a very bad liar.
I'm really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Terrible.
terrible.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sucks.
It
really
does
sucks.
suck. And when I see
Because it
people,
would make my life a lot easier.
it would make my life a lot easier. And there are a lot of times in my life I'm like, you should have fucking lied. But then I start to do it and I'm like, but no.
I did have an epiphany one time at work. Like, I was working brunch. It wasn't like that high of stakes. But my boss asked me if I did something and I didn't do it. And I just said I did. And then he was like, okay. And he walked away. And I was like, wow, that was... I should have been doing this the whole time.
I mean, it's like I don't lie well when I do it and, you know, quote unquote get away with it. I still don't fully feel like I got away with it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it eats at me.
Me too, me
It
too.
like eats at me. That's the main reason. Like
I'm a
even if I
soft
could get away with
person.
it, I just fucking freak out worst case scenarios of like, what if 5 years down the line we're talking about April 7th, 2022
keep all your lies
and
in.
it comes to
Yeah.
light
Well-
that I fibbed.
Well, that's the other thing I'll say is that on the other side of things, I feel like I get investigative and I catch people in lies. I feel like a lot with me. Do you let people lie to you? Like if you know that somebody's lying to you, it really depends on the situation.
It depends on the person.
If an
Yeah.
Uber driver's lying to me, I'm gonna let them keep lying to me because I want to see where this goes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
But if like my partner's lying to me, I'm like, you told me the show was sold out, but then I looked and it was standing room only, and I feel like you just didn't want to go.
Yeah. No, that's when I'll say something, I think, as well. It depends on the relationship. Also, if it's something like, I guess the best example I could give is like, I remember a few years ago, I had like a fairly good friend that I was like, oh, can you come walk my dog? And they were like, yeah, for sure. And I like paid them in advance to do it. And then like got home and like, I knew my dog hadn't been walked. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I knew they hadn't been walked. And so then when I like said like, hey, like how was the walk? And they're like, oh, it was great. Da 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 da. Like I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm just not gonna. You're never walking my dog. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
It's more
I
just
would
like,
say something. That's just also like if like, you know, your dog like has been holding in piss for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Like, that's
it sucks. And it's
That's really a kind of a fucked up thing to lie. Whenever somebody hurts a dog, I'm pissed.
I feel the same.
I'm sure they forgot, but even still,
Yeah.
it's like
Even so, I would
Just
rather
say
you
it.
just tell me you
Yeah.
forgot. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, give me the $20. Like I'll just be like, okay, well, can you walk them? You know what I mean? Like I don't know what I would have done. It's like 2 or 3 years ago, but it's like, yeah, it's kind of thing where it's like, I know how I feel when I realize somebody's lying to me, and it's like I don't ever want to make somebody else feel that way. And to know that I have, when I have lied in the past, it just like, I think I just like when I turned 28 or 29, I think I had the epiphany of like, oh, I just don't feel good when I do this, and I want to feel good as much as I can. Like there's so many things that come up in life in general that make you feel shitty. It's like, why would you want to do stuff that
Why
makes
add
you
But
feel
then
shitty?
another issue I have is there are several situations where lying, I think, is the right moral thing to do. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you need to compliment somebody, and it's not that I won't lie in that situation because I will lie and I'll give them the compliment, but it's just that it doesn't come off real, and I can tell that they don't feel it.
I don't give fake compliments.
I very rarely do, but like
I'm not. I think it is. I think if I did, they would know. So it would,
anytime
that's
I
the
do,
point.
they do know.
I
They do
know.
know immediately.
Yeah.
I will avoid it. I will talk around it a lot.
Well, I
typically.
feel that sometimes people be like, "Great set," and I'll be like, "Thank you," and I won't say it back. But I don't.
But then alternatively, I'll say a lot of times somebody will say great set to me, and then I didn't see their set. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't want to say great set to you because I didn't see your set, but I also don't think you did bad. But I don't. But then
Yeah.
sometimes it is a situation. If a friend. Sometimes if a friend bombs, I'll be like, yeah, not a great set for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, they know. That's
Right,
the thing,
right.
is, like, they
Everyone
know they
knows if
bombed.
you ate. It's when somebody doesn't
Truly.
know they ate shit that it's like.
Well, then that's also it's like
That's
those are
a
people
dumb problem.
that shouldn't be doing stand up, and they will be doing it for 50 more years, and there's no stopping them. We can say anything we want to them, and they're not gonna. I have a big theory about this actually. That there's like certain people where like they only do stand up. It's just the attention of being on stage. Like they don't really like writing jokes or like any of that, but the like such an easy way to get like attention, and so. Whether
So
the
true.
attention is good or bad doesn't really matter. So if they go up and bomb, they're still like, everybody looked at me for 5 minutes. So it doesn't really
That's so
matter.
interesting.
That
Okay.
Literally, I mean, like, and I think that's exactly it. But it's like, just the way that I like eat myself alive. If one moment doesn't go exactly how I want it, like it's almost like
Well,
I wonder what that would feel like
I
to
think
be
what-
able to
That would
eat
be
shit and just be
nice.
like, I'm still getting it. Like,
What
'cause-
happens in those situations is I think those people don't ever really kill. So they don't know that they're bombing consistently because they don't know what it feels like to kill.
yeah.
Because you know that, like, you know that high you feel when, like, you really fucking murder and, like, you're just like, this happens to me all the time. I'll be, like, so exhausted to go to a show and I'll be like, I can't do it. And then I'll be like, I'm so tired. I just want to go to sleep. And then right after, like, I did my set, I'm like,
Yeah.
you know.
Or if you're like hungover and then after like whoo and for like 10 minutes like yeah and then I'm like oh okay
It's back.
it's like stage health, that's a real thing too. Like
Yeah.
I've done stand up really fucking sick. I know I shouldn't do it but I do. Don't tell anyone. This is pre-panty.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, it
pre-panty.
was like on stage also I would feel good for 10 minutes and for like 5 minutes when I got off stage and then the cold would just like
Yeah.
come back in.
No, it 100% you can, like, it's like you don't
It
feel
must be like the adrenaline. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
it definitely is adrenaline.
Yeah, I mean, I'll like,
What?
I don't know, like, and I think I generally, like, if I'm complimenting somebody, I mean it
Yeah.
sincerely, and I think that I think to some people I probably come off as like aloof or cold or whatever,
No.
but it, like and not
You don't.
like
I don't think you do come off as
Okay.
aloof to cold to anyone.
anyone at all.
I'm a person people don't like. It takes like 2 weeks to like me. Like people always think I'm aloof and they think I'm a bitch, and I'm just like I don't know you, so I'm scared to talk to you. But then it comes off as, no, I don't think that people think you're aloof though.
But I was gonna say it's like,
You're so extroverted.
but I guess my thing is like anybody who I don't go out of my way to compliment, it's like that's for you know what I mean. Like it's like I am very kind and extroverted and nice, but it's like because I feel so shitty being like, oh great set to somebody who I think is a garbage bag. So it's like I'm not, you know what I mean. Like I'm not going to extend that energy when it's insincere, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, I'm glad that generally I seem extroverted and kind and all those things, but it's like, I think part of my promise to myself is like, if I think somebody sucks, I'm just not gonna make the effort.
Well, what's sometimes frustrating too about, like, when I see somebody who's bad at stand up, but they really, like, are still, like, going hard at it or whatever, sometimes people can get better, and
I've seen it happen.
it does happen, and, like,
It seems like it would never happen, but I have seen it happen.
I feel like you
Just
don't
from
realize
hard
it
work.
can happen.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't realize it can happen
doesn't
until,
seem-
like, you've been in the scene
It
for a
seems
long
like you got
time.
it or you don't,
Yeah.
to a degree. But I've seen someone go from really, really bad and then worked really hard
Yeah.
and got good at it.
It does happen every once in a while, which is kind of insane. I don't think it is actually that common.
Imagine.
It's definitely not inevitable because some people just never become good.
Absolutely. Well, because it is like you like have to be able to like discern. Like it is a weird skill to learn. Like
For sure.
I also feel like so much of stand-up, it's weird because, like, jokes are kind of, like, scientific in a way
no,
of,
I've
like,
always said that it's a science. It's not an art.
formulaic.
It's
But at the same time,
timing and then like set up and release. It's like a release of tension. It's all science, no art. I think.
it's all, like,
What were
science
you-
and formula, but it's also, like,
Or
all
rats in a maze.
intuitive. It's, like, intuitive. It's not, like, something that you can be like, oh, let me put these into this equation.
You
'Cause-
could though.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think you could build.
Maybe-
I think you could build a computer program that would. Turn
That's
out.
that's the thing that nobody knows, unfortunately, is everyone's like, oh no, AI could never replace humans. I'm like, yeah, it definitely
I will
could.
say,
Like,
I will
Tell
say,
that to all the porn I watch.
I was like, damn, now this is not gonna be as good as that line was. But I all I was gonna add is just as like, I mean, like for my, like because you copyright too, and I copyright. You copyright, right? I feel like I remember that about you.
I was writing for a website for a while, but I haven't been. In a
But yeah, but so it's like everybody who is like freelance writing is like kind of about AI writing now, and it's like AI writing is, you know, like very skilled, but it's like you still need that. Like with comedy, there's a scientific method to it. I always say that like when I mic stuff, it's like I'm almost doing the scientific experiment. Like I form a hypothesis, like this joke will, you know, generate this result, and then it's like going to each mic is or each showcase or whatever is testing like, am I getting the desired result? And if not, it's like you can go back to square one. But the point I'm making is it's like what makes the act really
That
good
is
is
an interesting way to think about open mics as like an experiment and like a testing. Okay, sorry.
No, but and I was gonna say that's what I think, but it's like I think that it takes the humanity of the vessel to like add that time. You know what I mean? Like, I guess you could train AI or you could like manufacture that, but it's like we've talked about. It's like I love the charisma of a person saying it.
Yeah,
like, that's part of it for me.
What if I was like, no, I would rather hear a robot do it.
You're like, I'd rather
Why did chicken crossroad?
chicken.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm trying to think of one of your jokes.
I will say the website I was writing for, I never thought about it like that they could be like doing like AI like articles, but the website I wrote for, what I was doing, a robot could have easily done. Like, I was like, dude, like it was, and it was, like even the they would give us like an outline for each article based on like SEO and like, you know, all the Google searches and stuff like that. And that was made by a robot. So that's what was so weird is it'd be me looking at what a robot thought would get the most clicks, but like it would be like repetitive and like it would like contradict itself, like all the like and I would be like talking to my boss being like, do you want me to redo this? And they're like, that's what's gonna do well on the internet.
And I like,
and it was all for like lube and stuff.
So you're like, oh my god,
to get people to buy different kinds of lube. I've thought about lube so much in my life
because you had
the
to write
person who like is like when a tweet goes viral reaches out to people and is like, sell these dildos. Do you know what I mean?
I've never seen. I'm not really on Twitter very much.
Good, and I need to delete it. And it is the worst. And Twitter has gotten me in that they know what I want is to read terrible facts about the world and get angry and then see porn. And it just does those back and forth. It'll be like, I'm angry. Then it'll be like, porn. And then I'm like, I'm mad at my body now. And then it'll be like, oh, now I'm angry about politics again. And it's like, and that's exactly what I want. And that TikTok and Instagram, if I see someone hot to me, and I'm like, this is the only thing that's going on, I scroll past it because I'm like, I don't want to. They don't need this. They don't need this. I'm sick of it. I like to punish hot people on social media, and it's not really a punishment. Coming. They have enough.
They're not getting my like.
Yeah, they're not gonna get my fucking like. I'm not gonna follow you just because I want to fuck you. Fuck you. You know.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck me. Hey, fuck you. Yeah. Fuck me.
I feel like I could have transitioned this a little better, but it might be about that time for the song a la la la.
Oh god.
You're gonna call. It's gonna be so fun.
Oh yeah. So the way we do this is that I'm gonna set up the chorus. I'll sing it one time, then we'll all sing it one time together, and then Beckett will sing a verse, and then you'll sing a verse, and then we'll go back to the chorus.
Wait, is it? What's it? It's just like about.
We'll just make it up based on the.
Jamie's gonna.
Okay.
Based on what we talked about. I'm trying to think of what would be the best thing to.
My heart's beating really fast.
Alright, okay, I think I got okay. I'm not liking any hot people. Follow you? No, fuck you. I'm not following you. I'm not liking any hot people. Follow you? No. Fuck you. I'm not following you. I'm not liking any hot people.
Follow you? No, fuck you. I'm not liking any hot people. Follow you? No, fuck you. I'm not liking any hot people today. So if you've got a six-pack, get the fuck away. I'm tired of you just lip-syncing to a song 'cause you've got a mustache and blue eyes. Fuck you. Yeah, I'm really into mustaches. It's a thing, and TikTok has figured it out. I think it's because everyone in Chicago has a mustache. And now I'm really attracted to people with mustaches, and I want to sit on their face. Ooh, yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna give them engagement on social media. Now I'm going to reserve that for people who I find intellectually challenging. So fuck you if you're hot and you have 1,000 followers. Gena, take it away.
Right now.
Yeah.
I am very hot and I'm on the internet. I love posting my pictures and seeing all the likes I can get. Cleavage and a really fat ass have brought me many sponsorships. And to all the uggos on my feet, honestly, all of you can just eat shit and die.
I'm not liking any hot people.
Follow you, no fuck you. I'm not liking any hot people. Follow you, no fuck you. I'm not liking any hot people. No fuck you and your fat ass. Fuck you and your fat ass. Your big tits, your six pack. Fuck you. I don't care. You're probably a good person who's just looking for validation, just like me. But I think that comedy is more valid than what you do, which is health and fitness. So fuck you.
Fuck you.
I think I'm more important than you for no real reason, even though sometimes I also work out.
He works out.
I work out sometimes.
Weights only, no running.
I work out the least of anybody in this circle of people. I go on walks sometimes. And maybe that's why I have such issue with the hot girls selling protein shakes on Instagram. It's not usually the girls I have a problem with. It's more so the men with the muscles. I don't really care for them at all.
How do we end this
Song.
How about like this? Bang!
Bam!
Bada bing!
Everybody
We did
give it up for our
give it up.
accompanist today. We have Jake DeWar on the guitar. Thank you so much, Jake. Thank you. Gena, where can the people find you on the internet?
Well, I'm on Instagram. It's Gena Gephart, GenaGephart.
Famously, Gena is an influencer.
Yeah.
It's true, yes. I'm wildly popular on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
DM me for feet pics, underwear. One guy asked me that he wanted to buy my puke.
Oh my
Puke?
God.
He was going to eat it. You have to draw the line somewhere, though. I said no.
No.
I said, but
How much was he gonna
keep it? I'll keep it in the back of my. I'll give my back pocket.
Oh.
Well,
my
I also feel like the thing about that is, how would you make yourself puke?
You'd stick your finger down your throat.
I've tried a few times, and it's a lot harder than you think it is.
It's pretty brutal. When I get the spins, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Just to like get it over with.
I recently was like with my friend, and she's like, "You have to pull tricks." I was like, I can't.
When you're waiting, it's so gnarly, and it's just like
it is the worst.
But when you're drunk, you're kind of looser. So like, I imagine sober making yourself throw up would be pretty horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess.
Anyway,
Anyway, everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Big Finish podcast.
Thank you to the Lincoln Lodge.
Thank you to our producer,
Christine.
Christine.
And this has been the Big Finish. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
This is the Big Finish at Lincoln Lodge. We're about to get it on the show. So come on, everybody, and get the show on the road.
Let's get it on the road.